Hey there, Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about the Zyliss Vise. And welcome to my shop if you're new. If you're a repeat viewer, I just want to say welcome back. And yes, it's been 6 months, but I'm back now. And we'll talk about all that later on. Let's talk about this thing. And those of you that don't know what it is, just go out. It's Zyliss. Zyliss. It's just it's a simple little, it's like a Swiss Army knife of vices. Yeah, I'm out of practice, I guess. Anyway, it's like the Swiss Army knife. It can go in all kinds of positions in different ways. You can flip it over, you can mount it vertically, and it's a handy little unit. I use it all the time. It's probably the one I go to most of the time here in the shop. I usually keep it up here, but it's real easy to move because you just clamp it to the edge of any kind of work surface by cranking this down, and you can go up to I think 2.5 inches thick. Maybe it's 2 3/4, somewhere in there. Anyway, there's a bunch of demos. If you want to know more about it, go watch those demos. And you'll see, it's amazing. But they're still out there. I've had a guy recently from New Zealand said that he had one. He paid dearly for his, but probably down in New Zealand, that probably not quite as common to find them down there as up here. But they are great little vices. But as you can see, this is one here is still original equipment. This one I've modified a couple of things on to make it more usable. But this has the original handle on and everything. That's what the main thing we want to talk about today is I took my handle off of my other one, the one I use all the time, and I found that a spark plug socket, which is a 13/16, I found that it fits right on that little nut here that this thing slips onto. And with this, you got to turn it only a half a turn at a time. You got to take it off, move it around, go another half a turn. So you don't want to use that too much when you're set up on a bench, unless this thing is past the end of the bench. Anyway, normally I've not been a fan of it, even though it works. But when I put this on here, and then now I have it wrapped with friction tape, and I'll tell you what, if I grab hold of that and crank it, or want to loosen it, I've never needed more than my hand to tighten and loosen that of anything I put in here, pretty much. It does have a 3/4 inch hexagon shape here, 6-sided, and you can use a 3/4 inch to actually torque it down if you need to. But I've never used it. So you could just have a long shaft on here to be able to grab it and turn it. But I got to talking with a gentleman, John Rand, and he sent me some pictures of his knob. He also did something about the jaw. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I was really intrigued by this knob because instead of using a socket like I did, what he did was he bought this is one of those universal spark plug sockets. It's 3/16 on one end, and then on the other end it was a 5/8 for the two different size spark plug sockets that this thing can be used for. And he cut it down, and he made a hole in a 5-star knob that he made, and stuck it inside there, and it theoretically now fits on here. So I thought, you know what? I've never changed this one, so maybe it's time. That's why I don't use this one. It sits over by the Legacy Mill, and the only time I really use it is over there. But it's partly because this one's never been modified. This other one, I use it all the time, so that's why it's sitting right here. So anyway, I thought, well, let's try changing out this handle and see how much we like his handle. It's different. Mine is the more in the shape of something like this, like on the F-clamps, where you can just grab it and turn it. But I think I'd be intrigued, and let's see how it does. I have to tell you, I like the looks of it. And I think that this was a very clever idea, as opposed to using a full socket like I did, so that he still has a nice little wood knob. So anyway, how about if we change it out and let's see how this thing works in real time. So I do have my snap ring pliers here. And we'll take that right off. These snap ring pliers, they're ambidextrous for inside clips or outside. I bought these right at probably 50 years ago, if you can believe that. They're Blue Points, if you know who they are. I do. But, yeah. But those have been great little pliers the whole time. Anyway, so now let's take that off. And let's see how this thing fits on there and see how it does. So it just goes on there. It's kind of snug, but it's going on. Oh, yeah. I just drove it in all the way. It's a perfect distance. Oh, look at that. Now this thing is moving. So, yeah. Just like mine. A little different shape, but it's okay. I don't know if I like a knob, 5-star knob better, or the long narrow one, but you know what? It beats the hell out of that handle that was on here. So let's do this. Let me take this back off for a minute. And before we lose it, let's take this snap ring. Boy, that's not supposed to be that difficult. My glasses would have helped. Anyway, so put that back on. There we go. It's on. There. And this should fit right over it. So that way we won't lose that little clip. And I'll take this and I'll just store this in the cabinet here, which is where I have all the attachments for the Zyliss. I'll just find a way to hang that up there too so that we know where it is. I took the other one off and honestly, I don't remember where it is. Anyway, we'll take care of that later. So now I'm actually kind of impressed with this. This is going to be much nicer. Now, as far as the jaws go, these jaws don't hold super well because it's just a flat aluminum surface. But I took them on mine, the other one, the one I use all the time, and I put rubber adhesive tape on here. It's called Rug Grip. It comes in a roll. I bought it probably 3-4 years ago. Some guy out of Florida turned me onto this stuff, and I went out and bought it, and I use it everywhere. In fact, if you look at my clamps, there it is. This stuff really does help when you're gripping down on something. It'll hold it so much better because of that gripping power that it adds to using this. So I want to put that on the faces of both of these. That's what I did to mine, and it'll make that a lot better. But also, he's making a set of jaws for the lower jaws. If you take this vise and flip it over and attach it, these you can reverse them. And if you do that, then you get a flush vise that says something on the table and you want to clamp it in the vise, you can clamp it in the vise and it's still set on the table. So it gives you a nice little low profile vise for doing stuff that, and you want to keep it flat to the table. So, but he's making some jaws for that, and I thought that was kind of intriguing. So I thought, well, maybe I'll show you what I did, because I've been playing with the same idea. And let me show you some of the things I've been looking at, and maybe that'll spark some good ideas out of you that you can then share with us also down the road. But anyway, besides putting that tape on here, the other thing I did is I did make a set of wood jaws. Just simple, they drop on like so. Believe it or not, this is the first time I've actually put them on this vise, I think. And when I got this out, this thing's been over by the Legacy Mill all this time. But I use these all the time on my other vise when it's up here. I usually just leave them on there. If I want to take them off and just use the rubber padding, I can just take them off in a split second. So, but these actually haven't been too bad. Now, and all basically it is a flat face, a top piece here, and I did put two ends on it, and then I put it back so that it stays on there and doesn't move around. Here I just used little cleats. I wanted to try both methods and see which I liked better. But otherwise, these are the same. They're glued together with 5 little pieces, or 2 ends, a face, and the top. And then I did put, you can see the little bamboo skewers where I put skewers in the thing to reinforce it, because I want to depend on just glue to hold this together. So I do have bamboo skewers in there. They really add to the joint strength over just glue. So anyway, I've been using these now for probably about a year. And I actually I like them. They're simple, they work good, and they grip better in some cases than I can without them. So it's kind of handy to have something like this. I thought about putting a groove in them for round objects and that sort of thing, but I don't know. As far as putting them on here, I thought about just having 2 pieces angled. So what I did here the other day, I saw these. These are jaw vices. They're 4-inch jaw vices, which is the same. These magnets. I have a set of magnets here. And they're just jaw vices. You can either use the one with the V's in it, or you can use the flat surface. And they normally would, because of the magnets on them, they would stick to the vise. But because these aren't magnetic, that isn't the case. But I figured out that if I take this small piece of steel bar, this is just 3/4 inch flat bar, and these are little Harbor Freight magnets. You can buy them in a pack of 10 in a little tube. They're pretty cheap from Harbor Freight, but I keep a bunch of them around. So I took those and stuck a couple of them on there, and now I find that if I want this to stay on here, if I put this in the side in here, now that sticks to it, and now they stay on. So I can very easily and there I have a set of jaws. So I've been playing with the idea of using magnets and just making specialty jaws that can be held on there with these. So it's just something I've been working on, toying with the idea. And so far, that's kind of what I've been doing, what this has been about. Oop. Okay, I'll put those away later. But that's it. I wanted to show this to you about the vise. Mostly, I wanted to try out this knob. Hey, John, thank you. I think I love the knob. It's great. And I think that I probably won't be taking it off. I probably pretty much will leave it on there. But it's definitely an improvement over that handle. So I thought I'd share this with you. Thank you, John. If you guys have any ideas about jaws, and I probably will do another video here soon after I see how he comes out with those jaws that he made for his. But a set of these jaws are pretty easy to make too. And these have worked real well on this top part of the vise. So from here you can make any kind of design into this. So I probably didn't really need these. I could easily made some kind of plate that actually attaches to these maybe. Just a thought. So something you might think about. If you get any ideas about any of this about the vise, let me know. I just thought I'd share what I have found out now. And like I said, John, I can't thank you enough. This is going to be great to have. We're going to take this vise. I'll put some rubber grips on it. And we're going to put this one up here, and I'll put that one over there. And we'll see how we like this knob in comparison to the knob that I had. And see how it works. I suspect it's going to work very nicely. So, any questions, any tips, any thoughts, leave them down below. I do read them all. As far as that goes, I guess I'm done with this. So, thanks for stopping by. Before I go, I just want you guys to know that now that I'm back to doing videos, I'm going to probably do not all shop stuff, as much as I would love to. I don't really do woodworking stuff as much as I used to because I don't sell woodworking stuff. But I did have had a lot of tips and tricks and things I've shared with everybody over the years. And one thing I will say that what I'm going to probably be putting out from here forward, it will be some shop stuff, but it'll be about other things that go on in my life, like my HBS. Yes, if you know anything about that, that's my home battery system. When the power goes out, I can plug that into my house and unplug the grid and run off of this just as if I was on the grid, except for air conditioning. Anyway, I want to update this thing. We're going to take it off this wagon and put it on a better cart, more of a four-caster type cart, and have it built up vertically rather than spreading out like it does here. So, and I have some other thoughts. We're going to talk about these things. I have some new subjects I want to talk about. If you didn't know it, I am a senior citizen. And there are a lot of thoughts about senior citizens and security. And both here at home and if I'm out and about. And I do have a lot of thoughts about that and some ideas that I have actually implemented. And I think I have time to start sharing some of that too. So you're going to see a new series. And yes, it will be a little bit of rambling, just like I always do. And it will be a lot of OTB thinking. So stay tuned for that. And there's a couple other things I've done. Oh, check this out. This is one of my shop projects. I hate bungee cords. They don't last. And they just don't work very well. I made my own. There's the finite length, so it only has a certain length it can go, and then it'll be rigid. But it has a lot more spring to it than a regular bungee cord, and this thing is a lot older than any bungee cord I've been able to get last in the last few years already. And we'll go over how I made this, the tricks, the things that go wrong, and we'll go over all of that about how to make bungee cords in the shop. And I made that for probably about the same price as what it costs you to buy a bungee cord. So stay tuned for that. I have a bunch of other things like that. A whole list I actually have here of all sorts of different things besides the bungee cord that I want to talk about. And boy, the list just doesn't stop. So I may have stopped working for the last 6 months, but that burn, it's still been going 110 miles an hour. So stay tuned. We're going to try to catch up to all my ideas over the next few videos. And let's see how they work. So anyway, stay tuned. I appreciate you coming by. Any thoughts or questions, leave them in the comments. I do want to thank you for coming by. But please come back again because I'm nowhere near done. Thanks. And we'll see everybody again very soon.